Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a different approach, and instead of just focusing on the gameplay, driving around and having some fun, we're also going to be talking about something amazing, at least to me. We're going to be talking about how Euro Truck Simulator 2 has actually had a huge impact on the real world, especially on younger players who have gone on to pursue careers in trucking. If you're wondering how a video game can play such a big part in people's life and to the choices they end up making, stick around as I'm going to be sharing my perspective on the matter. Now, Euro Truck Simulator 2 has been around since 2012, and over the years it's become more than just a simulation game. It gathered tens of thousands of players and formed one of the biggest gaming communities out there. Whether they were just looking for a game to start up at the end of a long day at school or at work and just relax for a little while, or even dial in and run it for hours in a row, delivering goods from one corner of the map to another, they all had something in common. And I'm sure you guessed it: big trucks and loud engines. And I'm sure we can all remember how back in the day, when we only had the base map going and only a handful of countries we could drive through, we couldn't wait for the next DLC to drop. We couldn't wait to see what the next country would look like. And with each DLC they dropped, they always had an improvement, new models, new graphics. It just felt different. It was a breath of fresh air that we got through a DLC. And probably it didn't make sense back then, looking back at it, but I always hoped that the next DLC they would drop is gonna be my country. Even if it didn't make sense, there was a huge gap between my country and the base game maps. I somehow always thought and begged that the next country is gonna be mine. And that's because I guess we all wanted the same thing: to drive our favorite truck home. Now, for a lot of players, this game has been more than just a game. It was a stepping stone into a real career. Teens who experienced the thrill of open road trucking found themselves drawn to the idea of becoming professional drivers. On the other hand, we had adults who were maybe not happy with their current profession and were eager to change their career. It's safe to say that for many players, playing this game was the push they needed to finally make that change. One of the key reasons is the level of immersion this game provides. Players get to manage their trucks, explore different countries, and learn about the logistics of the industry, all while sitting in their driver's seat. Over time, this virtual experience has translated into deep appreciation for the job. There are real-world stories of people who were inspired by the game to a level where they enrolled in driving schools. They got their commercial driver's license and finally joined the trucking industry. The game allowed them to understand what the job entails and sparked a passion that they probably never would have found if it wasn't for playing this game. And I'm sure if you were to ask a real driver about the job, they would tell you it's not an easy job. And by any means, that goes without saying. It's a tedious job and it's time consuming, but it's also very necessary. I couldn't imagine what we would do without them. Imagine your store's shelves being empty. Imagine, not getting your packs in time. They provide a lot of comfort and they changed our lives. And one of the biggest issues with the trucking industry today is shortage of drivers. And Euro Truck Simulator 2 has been a gateway to solving that problem by allowing players to get a taste of the job. The game has made trucking more attractive to a younger generation and also to adults, like teens who never even thought about a career in logistics or transportation, are now considering it as a viable option. The skills they learn in the game, to some extent of course, like managing time, fuel, and setting up their routes, are to some extent transferable to the real world job. The game shows us that trucking is more than just driving, it's problem solving, it's logistics, and to some extent freedom on the open road. Now, driving through countryside, scenic mountain views in a game will not be the same as being, on the road for hours and hours and having that kind of pressure. But, if you're thinking about it, then the game provides a gate where you could experience the good side of this job, and sometimes that's more than enough. What's also fascinating is how this game has become somewhat of an educational tool. It teaches players about road safety and how to navigate different countries in Europe. They all have different rules and regulations, and for teens it gives them a clear, realistic picture of what to expect if they decide to pursue this trucking as a career. To some extent, you can't expect the game to teach you everything you need to know, but Euro Truck has been more than enough for some, and it's been definitely the deciding factor. Now, I've seen parents commenting on forums about how their kids became interested in this career after playing the game, and that's the kind of positive impact this game provides, and it goes beyond just entertainment. There are countless stories in the ETS2 community of players whose lives were changed by this game. I have an example in my group of close friends. One of them actually ended up being a truck driver. He started playing the game when he was 12 or 13, and then maybe 8 years later, anyway, as soon as he was legally allowed to get his license, he did. And he's been on the road for months and months and months, and he learned a lot of stuff. Now, he also told me about the negatives of the job, the hard side of being on the road, but the point is he wouldn't even have considered doing this if it wasn't for the game. And even before he started, it definitely helped him improve the driving habits in real life. And it also depends on the person, but a lot of them became a lot more conscious on the road. Sure, you'll see people having some fun and just overtaking like crazy and just testing the limits of their trucks, but that's a game in the end. But for a lot of people, it tempered them. And it's amazing how a game can shape behavior in such a way. I want you to also think about the amazing modding community, and I cannot stress this enough, and I cannot thank them enough for taking the time to just make our game better. And for a lot of people, that was also a deciding factor. I know people who are doing mods for fun, or just helping a friend out with a custom skin, who ended up being game developers, game designers, and this game was their starting point. It's amazing how far they got, and looking back at it, most of them, not everybody, but most of them would confirm that if it wasn't for the passion for trucks and the passion for creating new stuff in this virtual gaming world, they would have never gotten where they are right now. So whether you're just playing ETS2 for the realistic simulation, you have a nice rig, a custom wheel, maybe a real truck dashboard, the incredible mods, or just for fun, 1 hour at a time, you never know. It could be the game that changes your life. It's incredible how a video game can have such a real world impact, and I think that's what makes ETS2 so special. With the trucking industry always in need of fresh drivers, who knows, maybe the next generation of truckers will come from players who fell in love with the game years ago, or they're just discovering it now. The feeling of an open road right here in this game. Thank you for tuning in, and if you have a story about how ETS2 impacted your life, if ETS2 was your starting point in your career, let me know in the comments. Now, might be out of place, but hey, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. Until the next time, keep on trucking.